today in the old pickup truck when the phone rang, and it was our minister, our pastor, and he was very sick. He was to the point he couldn't hardly talk, and said, "I'm going home. I've got to. I can't make it any further." And asked if I would come by, and then he called me and told me that Darren and I would be able to say a few words tonight. And when he did that, I was actually about Morganton on Interstate 40, so about 100 and something miles from here. And so we went up and did what we had to do, and we got back at 25 after 6. so I'm about as unprepared as I could be here. But I got to think about things coming down the road, and I got to thinking about this book, this Bible. And he thinks, well, that's probably just a bunch of old, long-haired, bearded men that just wrote their own fables, their own imaginations. And then I got thinking, well, it didn't happen that way. Good Lord had means of doing things that he did. About a year ago or 2 years ago, they, in the seas around where the Israelites came out of Egypt, and the sea was what, the Red Sea? Or that was parted. And so everybody kind of taken that story kind of lightly until they found chariot after armor, after swords, after shields in a nice straight line like they were on a road in the bottom of the sea. I wonder now who could have lined those up and just happened to drop them in the right place so long to get it to look like they had just been there. I wonder. Make you wonder. They've traced it back to about when the Israelites left Egypt and right before that. And there's about a 13-year span in there that they're somewhere in there they feel like. A volcano went off on the Isle of Crete, I'm pretty sure. And it was strong enough to have caused every one of the plagues that happened in Egypt. Natural phenomena? Kind of doubt it. If the darkness for 3 days, there was enough ash, volcanic dust, and everything, it would have annihilated the sun till it would have been almost total darkness for at least 3 to 4 days. Yeah, but this happened to happen, I'm sure, at the same time. The Pharaohs, the firstborn, all that just happened to die. The firstborn in that day and age, there probably wasn't enough food for the entire family to go down here and get a big barbecue and whatever. Normally, the majority of the food was given to the firstborn child to pass on the genes and what have you. That was in that time. I think that had a whole lot to do with how much those Egyptians used the firstborn ate that had been contaminated by no telling what. The locusts, the plague that came from that, those would have been driven, I'm sure, away from anything that happened into Egypt. And it amazed me how each one of those was easily answered. I don't feel like that God just magically appears things. I think that he can use things that he's made. He made everything there is in this room, including me. Right. Okay, now, to do something that he needs to be or wants to do, I'm certain he can use things that make common sense to us. If he didn't want me to go down this tree or down this road tonight over here, it would be awful convenient for him, as the power he has, to have that tree fall right in front of my car as I almost got by. Easily done. And he would have thought to do that 10 million years ago to do that one tree tonight without any problem because he's that far ahead. I had heard one time said there's a scientist, and he said, I can do about anything I want to do. I've gotten that point, and technology has gone to where we can do anything we want to do. And he and God somehow got in a conversation. And he told God, said, I can do anything you can do now because we've gone that far in technology. He said, I can even make a man. God said, oh, I can even make a man. And he said, I tell you what, do. You make a man, God, and I'll make a man. And we'll see how that goes. God said, all right. So God went over, picked him up a handful of dust, and made a man out of it. And he breathed, and he lived. Scientists said, I can do that. He reached down, got him a handful of dust, and God said, get your own dust. So you know, he didn't have quite what he thought he had, did he? Not quite at all. That wasn't for entertainment purposes either.
I got it. I enjoyed.
But still, I think we are too much self-worth sometimes. Well, I can do that, you know, I can do this and that and the other. Doesn't always work that way, I don't think. This is, the man said, it is what it is. I've, in the past, sat down and looked at this and thought, well, that is well written, I'm sure, but is it a storybook? Is it something someone just stuck together? And then I had run across some things as to where the King James Version, Constantine had an enormous amount of influence on it. A lot of it's political as to what was put in this Bible. There are books that are not in this Bible. Enoch and what have you. I think even Judas had a book, if I'm not wrong. I have never read any of them. I don't know. I'd thought about it one day reading them, and I just hadn't got around to it, I guess. But I think that, well, I know that we have no better way of doing anything than that. Let me grab something right here. Hold on a minute. Grew up with a fellow in high school, went through grade school with him. His name was Bob Morley. Bob was in the upper few percent of our class. He was very intelligent. Bob grew up and he became a very, very serious Christian. Bob wrote several different books. I got one of these and gave it to Jerry Burleson. He went crazy over it, and I had to write Bob and say, how about send me the rest of your books? Bob boxed them all up, and I told him who they were going to, and he signed each one of them to Jerry Burleson on the back of the cover page. 2 days after he signed them, he had a heart attack and died. Yeah. But he makes you think about the things that really are in here. This, the cup of the harlot, is the end times we were never taught. It goes into depth on what kind of reading in between the lines. Of course, they're his opinions, I'm sure. But I found it to be right interesting what I have read of the thing. But again, I think that God takes the world as it is and does what he needs to be done through the people, the times, the places, the occurrences, and everything we have. It's like I saw something the other day. It said, we have a Martin Luther King birthday. Why can't we have a Billy Graham birthday every year? Why can't we? We should. We celebrate everything else. Why not something that we can get our teeth into, something we get a hold of, something that amounts to something rather than political this and that and the other. I'm so sick and tired of politics that I don't even want to turn the TV on. I'm sick and tired of it. I don't care who's what. I don't care who's in the White House, but I do know that we don't need any Islam in the White House. I do know that, period. We don't need it on the face of God's green earth whatsoever. Because if they did, they'd march in this back door right here and they'll kill everybody in here just simply because you're sitting here. You don't have to stand up and, oh, I'm a Christian, go ahead and shoot me. They're going to do it anyway. Simply because they've got some Mohammed. Mohammed's dead. He ain't never going to come out of the grave. He ain't never going to come back to see us. He's gone. But they've been taught all that. 72 virgins in their heaven? I doubt it. Doubt it real serious. I don't get in this as much as I should. Linda impresses me a lot on it. She gets up every morning, as a general rule. She's been sick here lately and she couldn't, but she gets up every morning. When I pile out of bed and go in there, she's sitting there reading this Bible. She's writing things down there and passages down out of it every morning of her life. I dare say she can quote a lot of scripture out of it that she wouldn't be able to get her up here and do that, because we had a discussion coming over here. She said, I'm not a teacher. And I thought, but you are. They used to have Bible study at her house when she was in Florida. A teacher. This girl right here can be a teacher. She is a teacher. She's taught us more than one thing in this church. Yeah. She is a teacher. You're a teacher. You've taught us many things in here. Every one of you that I see has taught me something. The best thing I could learn to do sometimes in a study type situation like that is sit down and shut up. And I'll learn more then than anything else. But again, I cannot describe it one sentence or one word or one letter of what's in this book. No man on earth can. Too many things have come true that are in here. Israel becoming a country again. Jerusalem. Too much of it is falling just the way it said it would. Too much of it. So, on my phone, I have the entire Bible on my phone. I'll sit here. Instead of getting this out of here, I can go right to the verse that whoever wants to is talking about. And I like that. I've got it with me. I take it with me. I don't have to worry about anything because it's imprinted in this phone. Anywhere I go. It makes it very handy if I choose. And all I can say is thank the Lord and the men that sat down and took their time to put all this together. Because it's well worth having. Thank you.